Trigger warning, this podcast is not for everyone. I have reported on this story that occurred on the 1st of January 2026, and it's so heartbreaking that I feel like I can't hold back anymore. I want to start today by acknowledging the profound loss we're seeing after the tragic fire in La Constellation bar in Cranes, Montana. Lives were lost, families are shattered, and the community is still in shock. My heart goes out for every victim, survivor, and loved ones that are affected. But as painful as this is, sometimes traditions and celebrations needs to be examined under the harsh light of reality. Too often, tragedy teaches us what regulations should have. So today, I'm asking the question nobody wants to ask. Why did this happen? Could it have been prevented? And what safety failures were in play? Early investigations suggest the blaze was likely ignited by sparklers or fountain candles attached to champagne bottles being hoisted above the crowd. Obviously, it's New Year's Day, a festive tradition, but this tradition needs to be examined. You know why? It's because lives were lost, 40 of them. 40 of them and many more severely injured. Some people might also say that it's too early to speak about this, but I say it is too late. Do you know why? 40 lives were lost and many more injured. We have video footages of persons trying to put the fire out with a shirt. This is what happens when you have youngsters. When you have youngsters under the influence of alcohol. It's called delays in reactions to the actual disaster, to an actual impending disaster. Yeah? This raises my first tough question. Why were handheld pyrotechnics so casually used indoors in a crowded basement venue? Guys, this is not birthday candles, you know. They are essentially fireworks that can ignite very quickly, as we saw in the videos, especially under a low-lined ceiling with acoustic foam that may not even have, you might not even have a fire retardant then. Some people would describe this foam as behaving like a plastic petrol once ignited. Now, my heart goes out to the families of the people who suffered, but I just cannot sit back and look at this, you know? I just cannot. Another question I want to ask. Were appropriate materials and safety standards enforced? Yeah. Now we know authorities say the venue had passed inspections in the past decade, but I want to turn the spotlight to the personnel responsible for the compliance of this building / basement that was not only used. Yeah, this is a basement. Yes, we know a basement, fine. In a regular layout, a basement might be okay to have one exit, but this basement building was used to house, and it's an entertainment spot. Used to house about 300 people. That's what we know for now. About 200 to 300 people. Yeah, alcohol, music, sparklers, pyrotechnics were used. Yeah, why was this building allowed to pass inspection with one exit, given all what we know about the usage of the building? Why? We need answers to these questions. Fire experts may also refer to this as inadequate, given the risk of indoor pyrotechnics and the crowd density as we saw. Yeah. Then there's the layout of the club itself, a basement in a room with a single narrow staircase. Yeah. I'm going to repeat it. A basement in a room with a single narrow exit. Multiple eyewitnesses accounts describe how people just simply could not escape fast enough. There was a panic surge. People were forced to break windows, and many were trapped by the smoke and flames before emergency people could arrive or even reach them. Yeah, we must ask, why was there only one main evacuation route for dozens of people, possibly hundreds of patrons? I'm sure modern safety codes emphasizes multiple exits and a clear egress path precisely to prevent this sort of fatal bottleneck. I can't ignore. I really cannot ignore. We can't ignore human behavior. Alcohol, celebration, traditions, sparklers, and champagnes as part of us welcoming the new year. In fact, we do this in multiple cultures, to be honest. We use champagne, we use sparklers in multiple cultures. But when does tradition become reckless? When does fun cross the line into negligence? Now investigators are trying to work to determine whether there's charges of negligence, arson, or homicide. I say negligence. Negligence is written all over this. Yeah. Finally, as a society, we need to ask, should indoor pyrotechnics display of this kind ever be allowed without stricter regulations? Better yet, let's just ban it entirely. Yeah. The lessons from previous Nike fires around the world tells us yes. Traditions are meaningful, but they should not come at a cost of human life. 40 of them, 40 people. As we celebrate and ring in the new year, 40 people died because of our recklessness, because of what people might say is tradition. Yeah. What a disaster. So as we mourn, we must also reflect. We need to change. We need regulations to be tightened. And how we ensure this never happens again, it all depends on the outcome of this fire. My name is Cindy. Thank you for listening.